Every night, while you sleep, your brain does something that scientists only recently began to understand. It washes itself. Not metaphorically, literally. A system inside your brain, one that has no equivalent anywhere else in the body, activates during deep sleep and flushes out the toxic waste that builds up while you're awake. And a study published in one of the most prestigious scientific journals in the world has now revealed exactly how that process works. If you've ever wondered why a bad night's sleep leaves you foggy, irritable, and unable to think clearly, this research may have the answer. Before we go any further, because this is curious and verified, here is the source. The study is titled, Norepinephrine-mediated slow vasomotion drives glymphatic clearance during sleep. It was published in Cell on January 8, 2025. The researchers were from the University of Copenhagen, the University of Oxford, and the University of Rochester. The full link is in the description below. Everything in this video comes directly from this research. Now, let's get into it. Your brain has a problem. Every second of every day, your neurons are firing, communicating, processing information. And like any system that works hard, they produce waste, toxic proteins, metabolic byproducts, cellular debris. In the rest of your body, the lymphatic system handles this kind of cleanup. It collects waste from your tissues and carries it away. But your brain is sealed inside a skull. The lymphatic system cannot reach it. So how does the brain clean itself? For decades, scientists didn't have a good answer. Then, in 2012, a neuroscientist named Nedergaard discovered something remarkable. The brain has its own waste clearance system. It was named the glymphatic system. And it works like this. Cerebrospinal fluid, the clear liquid that surrounds and cushions your brain, is pushed through tiny channels alongside your blood vessels. As it moves, it sweeps through the brain tissue, collecting toxic proteins and carrying them out. It's been described by researchers as the brain's dishwasher, running quietly while you sleep. But here is the question that the 2025 Cell study set out to answer. What actually starts this process? What is the trigger? Scientists knew the glymphatic system was more active during sleep than during wakefulness. But the precise mechanism, the biological switch that turns it on, was unknown. This study found it. The answer involves a chemical called norepinephrine. Norepinephrine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger in the brain. During wakefulness, it's released at high and relatively stable levels. It keeps you alert, focused, responsive. But during deep sleep, specifically during NREM sleep, the non-dreaming phase, something different happens. Norepinephrine begins to oscillate. It rises and falls, rises and falls in a slow, rhythmic pattern, approximately once every 50 seconds. And these oscillations drive everything else. Here is the mechanism the researchers uncovered. Norepinephrine is a potent vasoconstrictor, meaning when it rises, it causes blood vessels to narrow. During NREM sleep, as norepinephrine rises and falls in these slow waves, the brain's arteries rhythmically constrict and expand. Contract, relax, contract, relax. The researchers confirmed this using a technique called optogenetics, directly stimulating the neurons that produce norepinephrine and observing the vascular response in real time. The connection was clear and consistent. Norepinephrine drives vasomotion. Vasomotion acts as a pump. And here is where it becomes remarkable. Because your brain is enclosed in a rigid skull, when blood vessels contract, blood volume inside the skull decreases. And when blood volume decreases, cerebrospinal fluid rushes in to fill the space. Then the vessels relax. Blood returns. CSF is pushed forward. This rhythmic cycling of blood and cerebrospinal fluid, pumping back and forth, is what drives the glymphatic system. Every oscillation is effectively a stroke of the pump, pushing CSF deeper into the brain tissue, carrying waste proteins out. The researchers then asked an important follow-up question. What happens when this process is disrupted? To answer this, they looked at one of the most commonly prescribed sleep medications in the world, zolpidem, known commercially as Ambien. Millions of people take it every night. The study found that zolpidem, despite successfully inducing sleep, significantly suppressed the norepinephrine oscillations during NREM sleep. The slow rhythmic waves were flattened. And as a result, glymphatic clearance was measurably reduced. The brain was technically asleep, but the cleaning cycle was not running at full capacity. This has significant implications, because the toxic proteins that the glymphatic system is responsible for clearing include amyloid beta and tau. These are the same proteins associated with Alzheimer's disease. Previous research has already shown that people who consistently sleep poorly have higher accumulations of these proteins in their brains. The 2025 Cell study now provides a mechanistic explanation for why. When the norepinephrine oscillations that drive the glymphatic pump are impaired, whether by sleep disruption, certain medications, or other factors, waste clearance slows, and waste accumulates. The study also addressed a point that was previously debated in the scientific literature. A 2024 paper published in Nature Neuroscience had suggested that brain clearance might actually be faster during wakefulness than during sleep. The Cell researchers directly addressed this discrepancy. Their argument is that the earlier study measured how tracer molecules dispersed within the brain, but did not measure actual clearance from the brain to the body's lymphatic system. When clearance is measured as tracer leaving the brain entirely, the data consistently shows it is higher during sleep. This is a reminder that in science, methodology matters. How you measure something shapes what you find. So what does this research mean in practical terms? The study does not tell you to sleep more, and it does not claim that better sleep will prevent Alzheimer's disease. What it does say is this: the quality of your deep sleep, specifically the architecture of NREM sleep, the slow oscillatory rhythms within it, appears to be as important as its duration. 8 hours of sleep induced by a sedative may not produce the same degree of glymphatic clearance as 8 hours of natural undisturbed sleep. This is not a reason for alarm. It is a direction for future research. And it raises a question that scientists are now beginning to take seriously. Are we measuring sleep correctly? Duration alone may not be enough. Let's bring this back to where we started. Every night while you sleep, your brain runs a clearance cycle that it cannot run while you are awake. That cycle is driven by slow, rhythmic oscillations in a neurotransmitter called norepinephrine. Those oscillations cause your brain's arteries to pulse, creating a pump that pushes cerebrospinal fluid through the tissue, washing out the proteins that would otherwise accumulate. This process was identified, mapped, and confirmed by researchers at the University of Copenhagen, Oxford, and Rochester, and published in Cell in January 2025. The science does not tell us everything yet, but it tells us something important. Sleep is not passive. Your brain is not simply resting. It is doing the most essential maintenance work it knows how to do, and what it is cleaning may determine how well it functions for years to come. The full study is linked in the description, free to read, peer-reviewed, and published in Cell. As always, the source comes first on this channel. If you have a question about the research or a topic you want us to cover next, leave it in the comments. Subscribe if you want more, and we'll see you in the next one.